Okay. Now let's hunt for let's go find me a thermal, huh? Now the problem with gliding in X-Plane, generally speaking as well by the way, is that you can't just look for the gap in the clouds. The clouds are not coordinated with the air currents or anything like that, so I'm kind of screwed there. Also the cloud base is around about 2,000 feet, which is pretty normal for this area actually. So we're just going to have to make that work for us. However, we are getting a fairly nominal rate of steady rate with no real change in speed or rate of climb, so we're pretty stable here actually. I'm going to try to turn into the wind. We have some hills over there in the distance. I don't think I'll quite make them, but I know that there's some more local, smaller ones which I have used in the past with to grab drafts from. Also, these green spots that aren't on the towns, they seem to give off thermals at some points. So we'll just see what we can do. The last night I was given some practice just in the evening, and you wouldn't really fly a glider, I imagine, in real life in the low light conditions I would try it flying them in, but that green patch in the middle, oh, there we go. Very small thermal, but we'll take it for now. Yes, that small patch of grass I've now put my nose on came out as a fairly good, consistent thermal, and I could have gone above the clouds if I'd had an artificial horizon to maintain my sense of direction. But we're maintaining a fairly slow speed of about 50 miles per hour, I think that is, or kilometers per hour. It's 50 units, it's around about that yellow bug there on it is considered optimal gliding. I'm sure I'll get yelled at and corrected by a whole bunch of gliding experts, but because I have literally zero experience, none, with gliding. That being said, we're getting just very small currents, sure enough, just to keep us in the air. And sure enough, that hill on the left there and the green land below it seems to be giving me a little bit of a draft, which is suiting me just fine. Now, the wind conditions haven't changed much since yesterday evening. Of course, the temperature is much hotter than it was at sort of 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening local time. So I'm hoping we'll get a pretty modest draft coming over this hill. And if I can catch that as a thermal, then even better. But once I've found myself a thermal, I can get a nice bit of altitude. Even better if we can find a thermal that's got a gap in the clouds above it. Ooh, that usually means a thermal's coming. Big gaps like that. Indeed. Same location as before, actually, more or less. That's good to know. I'm a lot lower than I was last time, which is concerning, but... always make sure you know where your airport is or your landing spots. These green areas are going to be fine for landing as well if I need to. Getting slight upticks here. Thermals aren't particularly strong. Oh, maybe I'm telling lies. Just caught the edge of one there. Just got to feel it out, find out where it's moved to. Just checking my rate of climb. It's pretty stable. I'm losing too much speed to keep that rate of climb though, so I'm going to keep the nose down a little. I'm going to try the other side of the hill, see if it's see if the wind direction changed enough to cause that. Looking for the upticks. So we've got several different gauges, analog and digital, to give us similar ideas. Just showing us where potentially thermals can be. Okay, we're entering something now. There we go, look at that. So we're going to start trying to catch that. There we go. Just on the edge of it by the looks of it. I should have gone a little deeper. That's fine, I know roughly where it is though. Round about that house there. We'll keep it going. I'm opening the spiral out of it, just to try and see if I can pick the point where it comes in. So I'll probably be switching to a left-hand turn as soon as I trip this. There we go, let's try a left-hand turn, see if we can catch a little bit more of it. Okay. Okay, we caught a bit more of it, we're getting a better feel for where this thermal is. It might not actually be a thermal, it might just be an updraft from the hill. So we're going to spiral round one more time. Don't worry about the tearing. I don't get the strongest frame for a second with this kind of thing, but we'll make it work, don't worry. Okay, so this thermal is going to allow me to basically maintain my position. I'm not really going to gain or lose height that very much. I might be able to use it to gain a bit of speed at least. Okay. Yeah, this isn't a thermal as such, this is just an updraft over the hill. So we're just catching the edge of the wind pushing over the hill and basically blowing us back up in the air. But if I catch it enough times, without falling too much in the first place, it's a net gain. Big downdraft like that, it's pulling me down in there. That's the sound of epic fail right there. Trim it out this urge to climb. Okay, so we're kind of stuck with this hill at the moment. I can't really get away from it. If I can grab myself a little bit more altitude, I'm going to be able to quest for the next thermal, I think. I'm going to watch my speed. I'm terribly slow, which means I'm not grabbing the most efficient use of these things, but going to take every last square meter of air that's carrying us higher. So as you can see there, I'm more or less station keeping at the moment, which isn't great. Gliders are very well known for having a huge lift ratio across long distances. So I'm going to start thinking about my next move. Generally speaking, I actually want to be flying west because that's where Perth is. No. Not the most coordinated turn in the world. Very, very small amounts of lift from the updraft here. I mean, it's working. It's just such small gains. I could be here for an hour and only gain 500 feet. So, we're going to look around a bit more, I think, because this is just going to be me flying around in circles for half an hour. Which sometimes is what happens in gliding, I'm guessing, but we have another hill just in front of us. Let's see if we can catch that, because if I can drift without losing too much altitude, I might be able to chain them two together and get myself a little bit more lift overall. So the first hill we were transiting over there, from my own personal knowledge, is the Law, which is one of the largest hills in Dundee. And when you look at basically any place in Dundee, you can almost always see it. It's one of the highest points. The next one we're heading to is a smaller hill called which I've been to many times. The lower area there at the base of the hill to the south is known as Balgay Park. And at the top of this hill, not pictured in X-Plane, is the Mills Observatory. It's an actual astronomy observatory that's open to the public, locally funded, predominantly dominated by all the astronomy students in local universities and colleges, but yeah, that's what it is. In real life, you wouldn't see 500 buildings at the top of this hill, because on the other smaller hill, where that road has a cross in it, is actually the Western Dundee Cemetery, which has some very old graves in them. Some of them go back to the 1800s. There's quite a few war graves from First and Second World War. And we got a little bit of a gain there, but I think we lost more than we gained there, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, it's a lower hill, so I don't know what I was thinking. It was worth a shot, I guess. Let's see if I can chain these two together though and get myself a little bit of a plus on both sides. So I'm waiting for the updraft. There it is. I'm going to trim out that change. Huge sudden gain as we crest the hill and catch the air, followed by a huge slowdown as we only catch the very tail end. So we're not really making much headway, no pun intended. I'm going to try to sail on over to the back of the Law Hill again and see if we can catch one more decent sized updraft. If this doesn't really work out overall, this could scupper my plans for today's glide, unless I start questing further afield. But as you can see, we're in the Scottish lowlands, not too many hills apart unless you can get something that will take you up to the Sidlaws to the north there. Okay, we're starting to catch some sort of updraft here. Let's see if I can lean into it. Nope, nope, definitely not a thermal now. Okay, very, very small thermal somewhere around here. I need to find it a bit more, I think. Lean into it a bit more. Okay, well, there's something there, although it's very, very small and very hard to get a hold of, really. For all I know, I might be circling some poor guy's chimney stack of... Okay, the ground is getting really close now. Right, we know there's another one on the other side here, so let's see if I can take that hill and catch a little more updraft. Because this hill here has given me the most efficient gain. I'm going to say gain, it's not much of a gain, but it's there at least. Okay. Generally speaking, you've found a thermal if you can keep the yellow needle above the 0. So let's see how this goes. Well, right now I'm just chasing updrafts, which hopefully should be stronger at the bottom than they should be at the top, but we'll see how it goes. That mouse wheel can just piss off. So there's not very many thermals nearby by the looks of it, which is a little annoying, I must admit. Try one more time doing the hill to hill hop, see if we can get anything out of that. But if not, I may actually have to start seriously thinking about trying to get myself back home. Come on, lean into it a little. Well, I've got enough glide to get me home. The thermals are not behaving with me today, so what I'll do is I'll land back at base and I will attempt a different direction. Let's head out to the west on the next pass. So unless I bump into a thermal as we cross the coast, which isn't unheard of by the way. See what I mean? Alright. This isn't going to happen. We're going to try and land. Now, I don't want to land on the runway. I want to land just across from it because I do not have the ability to taxi clear. So, spoilers are all the way out. They're even. Taking a fairly steep approach, even then these spoilers are so efficient that I'm still slowing down, which, believe me or not, is not a bad thing. Straighten up the little tag. You can see the crosswind component, but that's okay, we're making it work. And a nice gentle landing. And looks like we're slightly on the road anyway. Brilliant. Let's reset this very quickly and try another run. So let's take my airport of choice and let's set myself up for a westbound approach, a westbound run. Start new flight, yes please. Sadly, this is the only way I can rerun the thing. They won't just attach it back onto the runway. Well, that was interesting. I was not expecting to be taken off quite so quickly. I thought I'd have a little nibble and then give you a briefing. So that's not going to happen. So this time we're going to try westbound. There's more hills to the west actually. They are a little bit further away, but given that I'm starting from a much better initial height, I'm hoping I could just maintain the glide a little longer. Or just bump into another thermal, because that would be sweet as well. Now yes, I could get a plane towed up and have it drive me out there, but I'm not patient enough to just sit and wait at 6,000 feet to do that. Plus, I would like to only pass through the clouds when I want, rather than when the AI thinks it's okay. So we're just going to stick with this as it is, and hope for the best. I know the gauges are 2D, this is actually a mod of the official version. This one has working variometers and far nicer digital displays. So I figured I'd give you this rather than complete silence in the cockpit. Because, you know, fuck that. So we crossed the water there. You don't tend to find thermals over water, sadly. These huge, large green expanses, I would hope to find thermals there as the sun hits the ground. And we see the ticker rising up after it drops down. It's usually a signal that a thermal is coming. But perhaps we've missed it, or it was just an updraft. Either way, we're not getting it. Now, as you see, this thing will happily land in a ditch, so if I have to, I will. Of course, I'd prefer not to, though. And my quest for a thermal continues. I'm beginning to wonder if there's such a thing as any right now. I'm going to have to check the weather configuration if this one doesn't work. Because I'm now at a situation where I'm going to have to start heading home, otherwise I won't have enough energy to get back home. It's already going to be marginal. Okay. Okay, well this glide is behaving itself remarkably well. It's handled stably, the trim's good. So I'll make the landing okay. You see the trains going by. That's pretty cool actually. So we're just going to make straight in. The thing about being a glider is you usually just get to tell them I'm coming in, and unless there's something in the pattern already, you probably will be told, yeah, okay, you can get landing priority, because gliders, they can't stay up for forever unless they've found a thermal. At least that's, I imagine, how it works. Certainly how it should work, in my opinion. Yeah, if I could find a thermal, that would be sweet. Because you can see how slow I'm going compared to that train. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit and get you a slightly better impression of what that thing looks like. All the cars driving by and stuff. Graphically speaking, they're actually pretty well done. I'm actually quite impressed. But back to reality. Okay. Ooh. Is this a thermal I see before me, or am I just catching an updraft? If there happened to be one right over my airport, that would be hilarious right now. There's definitely something here. Interesting. Way too low to really be safely taking advantage of it. I mean, that poor guy is going. I'm going to be landing in that guy's house if I'm not careful. Okay, time to land runway 27. Keep this nice and simple. Now, I'm still not quite got a feel for how good the turning circle in a sailplane can be, so let's just bring her in hard. Remember, we're going to land slightly south of the airfield. Aim for the pappy lights. And bump. All right. Well, I'm gonna quickly check my settings for thermals and how strong they are and shit like that, because that should have gone a lot better. Coverage 8%. Let's see if we can bring that up a bit, I guess. And let's make the thermals just a little tougher. Let's see if that does anything for us. So we hopefully have a stronger thermal in the day. Stronger thermals, and hopefully, if I get this right, I'll be in a much better position. Oh, that's the brakes out. And holy shit, we're already going somewhere. Get some real fling going on here. Zoom. Let's see if those thermals are just a touch more powerful enough now. There's the downdraft. See if there's a thermal close to us. So just touched the edge of one there. And I guess the wrong direction. Oh, that's a bit more powerful. Wheel over a little harder. Oh, there's something here. Alright, we finally got something here. So, we got ourselves a thermal, definitely. I can stay in this all day if I need to. And as long as the breeze stays current and the weather doesn't change, I will always be able to stay up. It's very close to the airfield as well, which is fantastic news. So I'm going to get as much altitude as I can. There's a few breaks in the clouds, so I'm hoping that they'll move. I'm hoping that they'll shift over to my location. Alright. I've trimmed the stick pretty much full aft to try and maintain this turn rate so I don't get spat out of it, because it looks like I'm going to if I'm not careful. Right, with a thermal like this, and just on the edge of the clouds like that, I think I can get to Perth. I need to find a way to hide the mouse, because that is seriously pissing me off. Now my circles could be better. I'm kind of jumping in and out of the thermal at the moment. Oh man, we're getting there. We're getting some serious altitude out of this. Okay, let's. I want to really scrape the top of these clouds if I can. Okay, we've done what we can with this thermal. Not quite at cloud height though. I'm going to try and shift over to the next hill. See, because if there's a thermal over this area, which there might actually be, which would be cool, then I have this huge hole in the sky right up. Oh god. Basically right where I'm looking. So if I can catch a thermal above that, then I'm going places, man. Like, that is the best ever. So nudge those down, gain a little speed. Trade a little of my altitude, very little of my altitude. I've only gone down by maybe 10-20 feet or so. Hope and pray that this big gap in the sun is going to let in some sun and some thermal. I mean, this would be where you'd expect to see a thermal in real life. Let's see if X-Plane does that though, because X-Plane. Okay. Well, I'm gaining ever so slightly altitude, but it's at the cost of speed, so it's not a real genuine gain, sadly. What I really need is a huge uptick from the beeper. Oh wow, nice. The quest for a thermal near a gap in the clouds is bumped into something. At least I hope it was that and not. Well, it's right over that hill. It's right over Balgay Hill actually, so it might just be an updraft. Okay. See if I can grab a huge updraft from the edge of this hill here. Because at this altitude, I'm able to circle a little bit more confidently. So there's something approaching a thermal there. This giant mouse pointer insists on poking me in the eye. Huh. Well, that thermal there is about the only best. It's the best hope I've got, and I kind of lost a bit of it, which was annoying. You can get through it though. Okay, I've got enough to glide back over and try a whole bunch more. Oh. Draft from the mountain. There we are. Hill draft. This mouse. If anyone in the background knows how to get rid of the mouse pointer in VR for X-Plane 11, I would be eternally indebted to you. I can bind it to a button if I have to. I want it gone. Instead, it seems to me like the edge of my VR headset seems to just bring it in places. Stupid places. There was a thermal here. I'm using the buildings around me as a reference point. I know roughly where to expect it. So where has it gone exactly? This is weird. Well, it's a small thermal, but I'll get to 1700 feet eventually. Oh, come on. This thermal's moving, I swear. Okay. Much better altitude this time. I think we've just about touched the limits of that thermal, to be perfectly honest with you. Must be right on the edge of what it can do. Alright, well it's taken me about 3 minutes, but I've gained myself another 100 meters, 100 feet rather. I'm sure there's plenty of glider pilots looking at me going, oh my god, this guy has no idea what he's doing. You're right, I have no idea what I'm doing. This cloud base here is definitely going to give me what I want for thermals. Passing 2,000 feet. Alright. Let's try to make my way to Perth. Alright, trade a little altitude for a fair bit of speed. So we start off by just heading west-ish. It's actually Perth itself is going to be slightly beyond. Oh god, I hate this. I can't use the pointer. Damn it. Slightly over the hills. But if we keep catching drafts and stuff on the way along, then it shouldn't be too hard to maintain this altitude. As you can see, there's another something coming along. Some sort of updraft or thermal that we're passing into. It's a decently strong one as well. I think it's just the other side of the hill, to be honest. But it's extra altitude. We're getting ever closer and closer to these hills. Still gaining altitude. You can see the clouds coming up towards us there. We have to watch because there's no artificial horizon in these things. So purely VFR flight. But you can see there we've gained a huge thermal here that it'd be stupid for me to not to try and exploit. So we're gonna go. Kind of ironic that it was the more efficient hill was on the top end of this hill. So we're going to make advantage of this. I'm going to try and stay out the clouds where I can. But there's a gap above me, so I'm going to try and make use of it. At least I hope that's a gap. So if I could get above the clouds, that would be stellar. Ooh, gonna watch the stall. I'm gonna switch directions here in mid-thermal. There we go. Right, so I'm starting to lose my perspective on the ground because of the clouds. Going to have to pull a little hard on this side here. There we go. So the cloud bases are around about 3,000 here. We're still gaining altitude and losing airspeed, so we must be flying into some sort of headwind. So just like when you see birds that basically just don't seem to move in the sky, they just seem to hover. It's basically what's happening right now. You can see me still gaining altitude, even though my airspeed is almost zero. And I'm just having to use the rudder to keep me straight and level. So I'm hoping, if I do this right, the amount of time I spend travelling forward should be minimal. Nope. And I've left the thermal, so we're going to have to dive. Trade a little of that hard-won airspeed to get me some altitude. And we'll turn back out west. We should hit that thermal on the way out, but I'm hoping that I can punch through this layer of cloud to this lighter stuff up here. If I can't do that, I can dive and trade and use the thermal for airspeed instead of altitude. And you can see me still at a dive, gaining airspeed. And altitude nonetheless. This is a strong, strong current I'm in. If I just haul on a stick a bit more, my rate of climb will absolutely balloon. Now, you really should not jump into clouds like this, and you're probably going to see in a little while why, but I'm just going to try my very best to see just make sure that the ground is at the bottom of me. Or that I can see the sky above me. Either one of them is fine. Once I'm orientated with the clouds being my horizon instead, it won't really matter too much. So we're losing that thermal now. That thermal is going, and you see us now descending. And I've definitely got the leans here. I'm not exactly sure if I'm level with wingless or not. Fortunately it appears that I am. Oh, huge thermal. Still at 3,500 feet here. And that gap of the clouds is looking mighty appealing. However, we're no longer gaining altitude, we're well and truly on our way to sailing. So, we are just going to follow this coastal here for a moment, which is slightly south of west, but that's fine. I'm going to need to allow the aircraft to nose down slightly, gain a little bit of speed, just to make sure my glide is as efficient as possible. Once I've got the aircraft somewhere approaching stable balance between altitude and airspeed, I will consult the map. Yep, we're looking pretty stable there. Okay, so let me just show you what's going on here. So, first of all, we need to drop this a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So you see there's my sailplane there. We're actually passing the Dundee nav beacon for landing at Dundee Airport. But if I continue direct west over these little hills here, I'll end up at Perth, which is my objective. So we're going to start cutting this west again. And we're going to, unless we hit up a great big thermal, I want to try and maintain that direction. Perth Aerodrome, I have done the trip from Dundee to Perth Aerodrome on 2,000 feet of altitude with plenty left over, so I'm expecting to make this. Quick check of the chat. Nobody's needing questions answered just yet. That's fine by me. Enjoy the trip. Got a slightly low-hanging cloud here, so we're just going to try to skirt around it a little bit, and we'll take a little bit of it through. As long as I've still got reference altitude. Good. Okay, we have ourselves a pretty powerful thermal. We've got some relatively open sky above us, so let's take it. Okay, we gained ourselves about 100 feet there. Always nice to have a little top up. Okay, so that little altitude there didn't really gain us or lose us very much. But just up in the distance there you have those two hills just to our left, 11 o'clock in the distance there. Those are, just behind those is Perth Airport, so we're going to make it just fine. Oh, the thermal sure would be lovely right now, actually. Like I say, I'm pretty sure I've got enough altitude to take this, but bumping into something else nice would be cool. So we just passed between two hills. I remember when I did my 1 hour flight experience, I actually passed over those hills, so that's pretty cool. If we had a nighttime gliding run, we would actually be seeing Perth by now, I would think. We'd have the runway in sight, but it's a bit muggy out here, so not really going to happen. That's fine though, I'm maintaining good altitude, pretty good glide ratio. I expect to see the aerodrome very shortly. Perth Airport is based off of one old RAF training ground, so it's got the old-fashioned World War II style triangular runways. One of them is just a grass runway, and I don't believe it's in service for anything other than microlights and, well, gliders. The other two are concrete, or asphalt, but are only really used for the tow aircraft or the skydivers that frequent this area. Perth Aerodrome is not exactly known as a public airfield, in that I'm not aware personally of any aircraft of people who rent the hangar space as such. It's mostly private companies who are doing local entertainment. Like I said, microlights, gliders, skydiving tours, that sort of thing. But I think we can just about make it out in the distance. I'm going to pop my head out the bubble here because it's right in the way. Maybe not just yet. That's fine though. Like I say, I know it's out there. I know what I'm looking for. There we have it, runway in sight. So let's turn and navigate for that, I think. Let's just make sure that tallies up with my ability to read maps and I'm not landing in some poor factory's backyard. Nope, indeed, that would be it. So as you can see there, loads of airspeed, loads of altitude to trade. We can probably come in a little bit faster actually, but I'm going to set myself up for a fairly neutral handling trim.